and you will face the sea of darkness and all therein that may be explored. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to PCP Movie Night. In specific, welcome to March Madness. We are continuing our look at the madness of cinema history, some of the gnarliest, coolest films revolving around madness or not. It just all depends. You know, it's just like a mini horror fest. That's what we do. Tonight, we're talking about Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. That's right, the director of Zombie 2, the director of City of the Living Dead, the director of The Psychic and Manhattan Baby is back again with The Beyond, my personal favorite Lucio Fulci film. I'm excited to have a bunch of old-timers and first-timers with us tonight. Speaking of old-timers, though, it's Jelani. What is up, my man?
What's up, Sonny?
Yeah.
How's it going, Station?
Station, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Pop, pop, boom, and all that shit, right?
Yep, all
Well,
that.
if me and you are the old-timers, this is the young buck. It's Brooks. What is up, my man?
What's up? You know, whenever I shave, it takes 10 years off of my face.
It really does, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It takes 10 years off of your face, and it adds 10 years to your I have nothing. Stu is here as well. What is up, my man?
Station, guys. What's up, guys? So happy to be here with y'all tonight. Can't wait to get into it.
Hell yeah, man. Stu jumping in and wanting to check out this movie. Very excited. I twisted the arm of our next panelist because he's just been subjected to Italian horror that he doesn't like, and now I'm really nervous that Fable's about to funhouse me. So there's Fable. What's up, Fable? How you doing?
I can't station. My arm is so twisted. I can't station correctly. Station, guys. How you
I'm
doing?
like, believe. This is the one. If you don't like it, it just you're lost. You're a lost cause, Fable. Anyway, speaking of lost causes, this is Joe Corallo. What is up, my man? Oh, Joe's doing the mic bit. He's muted.
You know, I try to do these things for everyone's benefit, and sometimes it backfires. There's a little egg on my face, but it's okay. It's Monday, right? Like we've all been there on Mondays. But no, it's you know, it's good to be back. It's been a few weeks. Just been traveling a lot. I was in Seattle for Emerald City. I was in Dublin for Dublin Comic Con. I was just at Mocha Fest, which is local in Manhattan. So yeah, it's good to be talking about movies again.
Yeah, and Italian horror films at that, right? Yeah.
Mamma mia.
Joe Corallo can say that. The rest of us can't. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about this movie. So it's 1981. Lucio Fulci is doing this movie. And, you know, we've covered some Lucio Fulci films here. We talked about Zombie. We did Don't Torture a Duckling last year for March Madness. And his movies he started, I think, his first film, I think, was 69 or something, you know, which is nice. But, you know, his 70s movies are more giallo, right? They're more like, they're different. They're more like straight edge, right? I think Quentin Tarantino says they're gore movies from Fulci and really high class movies. And usually you don't have the fandoms match up, right? So he wound up having a success with Zombie 2, which we know in America as Zombie, which they know in the UK as Zombie Flesh Eaters or something like that, right? And that was a movie that did really well because of the tricky marketing strategy that the production company did, where they made it seem like it was a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which in Italy was called Zombies. So it's called Zombie 2 over there. And where money, pops up, people follow, right? So they did Gates of Hell, aka City of the Living Dead. And then he did The Black Cat right after that, which we covered, I think, on Dylan's horror show last year for March Madness. And then he started the Gates of Hell trilogy with City of the Living Dead, which is a really gnarly movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. If you want to see a woman throw up her guts for like 6 minutes straight, nonstop, no cuts, watch that movie. It's awesome. And then the second part was The Beyond, and the third part is House by the Cemetery. Bob? Sorry, I thought I heard the kid next door. That house was built over a gate of hell. But anyway, so they're only thematically tied in together, that there are 7 gates of hell on the earth, and each movie deals with one of those gates, right? This one deals with a hotel that this woman inherits in New Orleans that is built over one of the gates of hell. There was a black magician who was doing something. He was a painter. He was painting hell. He did something. They came and crucified him in a very gnarly way. It is gross. It is nonsensical. It is stream of consciousness. It is dream logic. But all that means is that it just wasn't a tight script. But that was kind of the point. You know, we talk about this a lot with like Argento films and Fulci films, and they're two of my favorite horror directors. And it's crazy because they didn't like each other, right? They're like at all.
Really?
But they both kind of have this like dream logic kind of sense. In fact, the script for this movie, there was no shooting script for this movie. Like there was an idea and there were like pages written, but they were just like shifting and changing it as it went. And then you always have the idea that it's an Italian production. So you got a bunch of people on set speaking different languages. They know it's all going to be dubbed. They don't even record audio on the sets, but it's an Italian film where one of the main characters of this movie is New Orleans, and it's shot on location and beautifully so. I love this movie. So y'all know I'm a huge Fulci head, and this is my favorite Fulci movie. I have been eagerly anticipating covering this movie here on PCP Movie Night. On Dylan's Horror Show, like a few years ago, we did the entire Gates of Hell trilogy. We did all three of them, right? But I was like, and it was funny because that show was me, Strick, and Dylan. And Dylan's favorite's House, and City is Strick's favorite. Beyond's my favorite, right? And I love it because it's got this Lovecraftian kind of vibe to it. And what I mean by that is not necessarily like giant tentacled monsters or anything, but like that descent into madness, where the idea that the universe is cold and unforgiving and does not give a shit about you. That's the whole point of this movie to me, is that nothing that anybody does in this movie is going to stop anything from happening because it already started a long ass time ago. I love the movie. The horror effect is gnarly. Fabio Frizzi's score, the best in his career. He scored Zombie. He scored City. Those are great scores. But the score for this movie is absolutely ratacular. It's amazing. This is a classified, a video nasty back in the day. It wasn't even released in its uncut form in the States until 1998 by Grindhouse Distribution or whatever. I love this movie. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time. So, Jelani, what do you think about The Beyond on the rewatch tonight?
You know what? I kind of agree. This is one of my favorites. I love Zombie 2. Zombie 2 is my favorite Fulci film because the first one I was introduced to, and the music's fire. Like, it is something about that one that just I have an affinity for. But this movie, oh my god, it's got so much gore. It's got so much. I don't know. It makes no sense, like you said. And when you guys were watching that for Dylan's Horror Show, I watched it too during that period of time. I forgot I watched this movie for some reason. And then I saw it again this go round, and I had to immediately watch it again, like watch it twice. It's so oddly engaging for no reason for me. I don't know why. I haven't figured it out yet, but it's confusing in a good way. It's one of those films where you're just like, how did we get here? What moment was the moment where we in hell? Were we always in hell? Did we start the movie in hell? Is this where we're going? And then like the second the doctor mentions it, that we're in hell, that it's the 7 gates of hell. I'm like, oh yeah, no shit. And it's just goes off from there. And there's so many just little things in this movie where you're like, I don't know how A got to B, got to C. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there are no
sure.
connections. Where I'm not sure where it happened. Don't know, still don't know. But it's still fun to watch. And it's got great eye stuff, which I'm a fan of eye horror.
Yeah, you know, Fulci's known for all the eye stuff, but The Beyond like takes that to the next level for sure.
It's like, I want to put the eye, you know, give me more eye.
Whoa, now, Jelani, whoa. So you like it, Jelani, and you don't quite get why, but you
I don't
do
understand it.
Right.
I like it. It's just it ends abruptly. It has no rhyme or reason, and it ends with that quote you said, and I'm like, huh? But still, I'm like, I agree. I agree with everything that's happened here. Everyone that dies is dumb, so I don't care. So I'm like, all right, yeah, everybody that dies, understandably dies.
Yeah.
Like, don't read a book on top of a ladder. Don't stand by when someone grabs your face, maybe knock their hand away so they don't push you into a nail. Stupid shit like that. Don't
know,
shoot
bro.
a gun.
I think if any of
Don't
this shit
shoot a
happened to
gun.
you, like you would get got just as easily as the rest of them in this
Hell
film.
yeah, but I would get got like creatively. I would have like fallen or something stupid.
You would have been. You would have
especially
fallen.
There was
if
a
I had
lot
a
of
gun.
falling. There was a lot of falling in this one.
Yeah, if I had a gun and I wanted to like shoot you, and knowing that headshots take you out, but still continue to shoot your stomach.
That's the dumbest dude in the fucking movie, like the
That was
main
so
actor,
fun.
because
You're a
So
doctor.
great.
he never figures it out, bro. Like
I'm like,
he never
"You're standing
figures that out. He never gets it. He's like, why do some fall and don't? Like some
Yeah.
of them kill the zombies and some of them don't.
Oh, he runs out of bullets.
Shoot
Yeah, when he figures it out.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
shit. He's
wow.
like, yeah, no shit. So I first owned this movie on DVD, and I still had that DVD copy, and I just gave it to Brooks to watch for his first time. So I hope that I didn't give it away in vain. So Brooks, why don't you tell us what you thought about Lucio Fulci's The Beyond?
Well, I liked it mostly. Like, I do have my problems with this movie, but I watched it twice because the first time I watched it, I'm like, what? It was like I couldn't remember like what was happening. I just couldn't remember like why anything happened in it. And then I watched the second time. I kind of get it a little bit more. So I kind of like understood a little better on the second watch. Like but it doesn't very much feel like a movie that Fulci made just so he could do like certain effect shots. He's like, oh, I could have a dude get eaten by spiders, or like, oh, some lady gets like acid poured on her, or she falls over and has acid fall on her head and shit,
Dude, straight up, you nailed it, man. Like Fulci had a list of kill scenes that he wanted to do, and the movie was formed around that 100%.
And he's just like, how do I explain it? Devil House or Devil Motel, I guess in this case.
Yeah. So you liked it?
Yeah, overall I liked it.
All right, that's nice. What about you, Stu? This was your first time watching The Beyond. What do you think about Fulci's classic?
I watched Zombie with my boy Verno a couple months back. But yeah, I loved it, man. It was like you guys have both said, it was bizarre and trying to piece together meaning and some of the motivation behind some of the shots or turns in the story was bizarre. But regardless, I appreciate just from the beginning the sepia drenched beginning with the painter, and then like how it ended. It felt like a Gustave Doré. Like I know we were back in the painting, but it like felt like some like we were back in a Rembrandt. I just love the way that felt at the end, both the beginning and the end. So I felt like it made its and I felt like that was the theme of the movie. It made its artistic statements when it needed to. But I felt like each of the kills was just all the energy kind of pulled to that moment, and then it kind of just chilled out for a little bit, and then it built back up. But overall, just for the sheer like artistic effort, the atmosphere, the music was so crazy. I know we're gonna get into that later, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great as an overall experience for sure.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. All right, Fable. I'm nervous. I'm anticipating what you're about to say. So what did you think?
It's all right. It was okay. I mean, you guys all said everything I would say. It did feel a little nonsensical. It did feel a little disjointed. Brooks said that it felt like set up for kills. I did feel that as well. But that being said, I was still entertained by it. As soon when it opened, first of all, I like the opening. I like that whole. I kind of feel like the whole movie should have been in that, black and white. He should explore a black and white release of this film. I think it might add a little bit to it. But I love that opening, and when he smacked him with the chain and it left that gash on his face, I was like, okay, I know what I'm in for now. So then it became about that, right? And some stuff worked for me, some stuff didn't work for me, but for the most part, I enjoyed that he went for it the ways they went for it, right? Like, you know what I mean? There were a few kill scenes there that I was just like, there was another one. I can't, the dog. That one.
I think that's him trying to show Argento how to do it.
Oh,
right? Because that's it's almost beat for beat that scene from Suspiria, right? With the blind dude. Yeah.
Well, the dog thing caught me off guard. I was like, "Holy shit!" And he went for it. So there was a lot of entertaining kills. Like I said, some of it worked for me, some of it didn't. But in the end, it is a little weird. It's a little odd. And I guess that's what the point is in a lot of ways. I enjoyed it also I saw the influences there for a lot of people. Like I saw Quentin Tarantino, you mentioned him. I saw it. It's there for sure. As soon as the movie opens, you see that's Quentin Tarantino. That Grindhouse features or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, oh hell yeah. I saw Sam Raimi in there a little bit.
Dude, there's a shot. There are shots in this movie that are in Spider-Man.
Yes. Yeah. So I could see why you guys love it, right? Like I caught the reason why you guys dug into it, but ultimately for me it was just okay. It was just all right.
Big question: did you like it better than Burial Ground?
Absolutely.
Okay, me too. All right, Joe, what do you think, man? The Beyond. What's your recollection, and what do you think on the rewatch?
Sure, it's aggressively style over structure. It is definitely like, I think something interesting about this is, and there's plenty of examples of similar things, but like if someone started explaining a movie to you where it was like, yeah, the director just like had these shots or whatever he wanted to do and then like made a movie around it. That is something that's been happening in Hollywood for the past decade or so on like really high budget movies that we just shit all over. Like it's just a horrible thing when that happens. If someone started explaining like, oh, it's this movie that's like, it's like, well, the director wanted to like just had these like scenes in mind, and then they followed up with, and it was like Michael Bay or something, you'd be like, fuck you, wasting my time talking about some fucking like Michael Bay movie that he's like, I had like 8 kills I really wanted to do, and then I thought I'd make a movie. You'd be like, why are you wasting my time? But for whatever reason, with some very specifically some Italian horror directors, that somehow like works. And again, it's all the fact that it's a little more like dreamlike, right? Because other directors and like big budget movies that do this, they're usually like action or sci-fi, and like maybe they're trying to go for something, but like this, like leaning into the dream aspect is what makes this work. I mean, and we're really stretching the definition of a movie working with this, because because as much as you might enjoy this, and especially some of the over the tops like gore and all that, like, does it work? Does it say anything? Kinda not. Like, what do you walk out of the it's very like again, very Lovecraftian, the idea of like everyone's like just going blind and when they see madness or these maddening things. But like, okay, but for what? Does this mean anything? And the answer is resoundingly no. So sure, it's good. It's a good movie, but is it? I think is the best way to describe The Beyond.
Yeah, I hope when they do the next like release in physical media, they quote you there, Joe. I love it. It's a good movie, but is it?
Jelani said it perfectly when he first opened up. I forgot what you said. You said something to describe this. You said oddly engaging, I think you said, or it
is oddly engaging. You don't understand it. Like it's is good, but you don't know why it's good, kind of thing. Yeah, it's that. It's more of that. I gotta rewind, but yeah, it's confusingly good.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
It's got a cast. It's got some people in it, and
A little bit.
you know, like most Italian movies, like, you know, not every voice you hear is the person who's portraying that character. But it's got a cast. It's an entirely Italian cast except for the two main leads, right? Chick, what's her name? It's Catriona McCall. She's actually in City of the Living Dead. She's also in House by the Cemetery. And then there's David Warbeck, who was in The Black Cat just right before this film. Which I when we rewatched it last year, I was actually disappointed that it wasn't as good as I remembered it being when I first watched it. But The Beyond gets better and better for me. And some of those performances work. So, Jelani, what's a character / performance you want to highlight?
There's so many, to be honest. I was gonna pick a few. I was just like, oh God. All right. I guess there's so many that's a blur. So I'm gonna pick. Oh God. Okay, I want to pick the redhead girl.
The little girl. Yeah.
That poor girl endured so much.
Jill,
like,
right?
Yeah,
her
she
dad,
did, man.
Yeah. Her dad gets like killed by a thing where his eyes get gouged out. Then they go see his body, and then the mom dies when she falls and acid falls on her face. Then she goes to the locker and sees the bodies that turn her blind and make her go insane. Then she goes to the funeral. She's at the funeral. They boo-hoo and weep for like 2 minutes, and everyone leaves her. Everybody's gone. They're like, funeral's over. Deuces. You know, you're on your own. You know, like, this is all we got. And then you find out later she's been possessed or she's blinded by the madness and stuff like that. And then she goes off, and she also has the best death scene for me, where her head gets completely blown off.
Dude, that makes Scanners look like some bitch ass shit, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah,
it really
does. It really does. Like, it took off like almost all of her face, like 80% of her face.
Dude, and then there's a second moment of like boom, boom, like there's like it's like has this beat, and then it like is so awesome, man. And it's a kid, it's a little girl. They did this shit too, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
They ruined her life. Like
he had no aim until he shot her.
Oh yeah, he did not hesitate with her. No, he did not hesitate, right?
He was dirty fucking Harry, bro. He was like, goddamn.
Perfect shot, by the way. Perfect headshot. Yeah, he couldn't get any. He got three headshots in. I hate that there were so many scenes with that dude. I'm sorry, that dude.
Dude, it actually makes sense, dude. Yeah, all those dudes he's shooting like in the gut and the stunt and like the chest at the end. Nah, it's just where his aim goes. She's just shorter, man. So he hit her square in the fucking head, dude.
He forgot he had the explosive head bullet there in that one.
It's some Judge Dredd shit. Like saving that one.
That's some RoboCop shit.
Dead or alive.
You're coming with me.
What about you, Brooks? What's a performance you want to highlight?
Oh, my favorite character was Joe the plumber.
Yeah, nice.
He's like, poor Joe. You just feel like just a real dude. And like, you know, it's a shame what happened to him. But it's kind of cool that he gets to come back later in the movie. Like, he's kind of a recurring zombie character in this movie. Yeah. So yeah, like I hated to see him go, but you know, at least he got to do a little bit of spooking.
Right, he had a really great death scene too. That like eye pull out is like one of the most gnarly things I've ever seen, dude. It's really good. He's a great character, and like you said, he's got a presence throughout the whole movie. Kudos to him just for doing his job, man. If I go down,
the exchange he had with the lady in the basement, with that weird little exchange where she's like, "I made a path for you, Joe."
Yeah,
he was like.
Yeah, there's some bumping uglies going on there, man, and I do mean ugly. But like as soon as I go down there, I guess I'm not cut out to be a plumber because I'm like, wait, I gotta walk through this shit? No, fuck that. This is fucking over, man. I ain't doing that, dude. It's gross down there, dude. Like mold and shit. What about you, Stu? What's the performance you want to highlight?
I'll go with Emily. Like another layer in the story where like you don't know who she is, where she came from, what side she's playing. But yeah, an awesome death with the dog nonetheless. I love that attack scene, and they got quiet and like it just turned on her. That was one of my favorite parts. But yeah, I don't know. Like she was a cool little part of the story until she wasn't, and they just kind of like gave up on on that plot thread and where it was going, and just kind of ended it abruptly. But regardless, the way they ended it was still fun for me. I love the dog going out and her going out like that.
She's really good, and I like the use of the diegetic music, right? Like she's playing like portions of the theme in the movie and shit like that. So I do dig on that,
absolutely.
Man. And she's if you just watch this movie for the first time, it's usually that's the character that sticks out to you, right? Like there's something very mysterious and compelling about that character. But like you said, they just fuck it, just kill her, let her dog kill her.
And she's there in the beginning with the painter, right?
Yeah, she killed the painter.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on in the beginning is she's reading from the book, and she's reading the story of what happened like 200 something years ago. Is what at least I got from it. Like
she just burns up. She just burned up immediately. She's like,
well, she went blind. Just that book is like an arcane, like evil thing, man. The Book of Ibon or something, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yep.
All right, Fable. What about you? What's the performance you want to highlight?
I'm gonna highlight what's his name? The painter, the zombie painter. What's his name?
Oh, like what's his name? It's like
Splits or Splits or
Schweik or something.
Schweikerts. Yeah, that guy. He's like he's the most iconic looking creature in the whole movie. Like he looks like he's the leader too of whatever's going on. Like when he comes and gets the girl, she's like, "Oh, I'm not going back to hell" or whatever. So and he's like, he gets attacked by the dog, whatever. He's like the guy. He's like the main guy. And he has a cool little look to him. Different from everybody else with that like melted face kind of into a
plaster of Paris on him or something. I don't know what they threw.
I don't know what they did to
they
that
threw
dude.
Like bubbling, like plastery shit on him, man. Like
yeah. So I like him. I like his look. I like that he's like the lead creature, I guess.
He also plays the lead creature in House by the Cemetery, the very next film in the Gates of Hell trilogy. What about you, Joe? You got a cast member you want to highlight?
Sure. I mean, I feel like this movie, you're not watching it for the performances, really. Like, this is an atmospheric movie. This is fucked up, watch people die kind of thing. Not really here for the excellent, outstanding acting. So in that tradition, I'm going to go with Arthur. He's just kind of a fucking creep for like one scene, and then he grabs her ankle in the sewer at the end, or beneath the building. That's it. Fuck it. That's all he does. But hey,
and he's sweaty.
He's really sweaty. Yeah, he's real sweaty for some reason.
Yeah, real sweaty. But I figured, you know what? No one's gonna pick Arthur, so I'll go with that. That'd be a pretty safe bet. And it turned out I was right. So shout out to my man Arthur.
Hell yeah. I do want to highlight David Warbeck as the doctor, right? Because he's the most gaslighty motherfucker I've ever seen in a movie, man. He is straight up like, you're crazy. You're crazy. This isn't happening. Like, dead people aren't coming back. But then, like, the very next sentence, he's like, there's some weird shit going on, by the way. Like, I've been reading this fucking book. You know what I'm saying? He believes the book, but not the woman. Both of them, by the way, I got this awesome Blu-ray nowadays, right? It's a 3-disc set. It comes with the CD soundtrack. Comes with 2 discs of special features, and it's a glow-in-the-dark cover, y'all. That's a glow-in-the-dark cover. But it's got a commentary from the 2 main leads, and it's literally the worst fucking movie commentary I've ever read. They're both like, we don't remember this movie. It was a paycheck. What the fuck ever. Literally, they're just like, I don't remember this. Like, it's just like, it's so useless. I was like, can we not get a film historian do a commentary on this? But I'll do that pretentious ass shit. I think my favorite character in the movie is New Orleans, right? The city is actually utilized incredibly well. The cemetery, that big bridge that they have that's like 20 something miles, right, long. They use that. The way it's shot, they use that city so effectively well. And to me, it is a character in this film and helps it stand out from other Fulci films. But let's talk about that style and structure. Like Joe said, it's all style. It's very little structure. The structure is, hey, we got these these murder set pieces that we want to do. Like, why is there just acid left open like there? Who gives a shit? Wouldn't it be cool to see somebody's face just get like eaten away by acid? And by the way, that's a mold of that actress's face and real acid being poured on it, right? So as far as the story and the structure, I do think that the meaning of the film, or at least the meaning that I pull from it, the feel and the atmosphere. So this is what I'm saying. The structure of the film, it's out the door. It's just like, it's got a beginning, it's got a middle, and it's got an end. Technically, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, technically speaking, I mean, it's got a runtime, so I guess it has all that. It doesn't weave together like a compelling tale, like that intrigues you by the narrative or by the characters. But it does ooze atmosphere and tone. And the atmosphere and the tone are what resonate with me. It gives me a truly kind of unsettling feeling when I get done watching this movie. I really, really like it, right? So I think stylistically, it's amazing. I think it's one of Fulci's best. I love the color palette. Everything is like bleak, and it's not even gray. It's like bleak in that sepia kind of tone, right? It's like the beginning of the film and then the end of the film, right? And the painting itself, like hell, you know, usually you think of hell and you think of like these, you know, reds and oranges and all this stuff, but this is just like a bleak, dirty yellow that's more akin to me of something like Dante's Inferno, like some of the descriptions that are given in that, like not just your typical Christian view of hell, but like more of a view of hell based on multiple cultures and religions and hit throughout history. So I love that aesthetic of it. I actually think they portray the descent into hell better than they do in Hellraiser 2, which we know Hellraiser 2 didn't have the budget to really do what they wanted to do. But a lot of people talk about how amazing the descent into hell is in that movie. But I think it's better in this one. But nobody ever mentions the Spawn movie as having a good descent into hell scene when they're playing Marilyn Manson and all the really bad CG stuff that makes the PlayStation look like the best thing in the world. But anyway, I do like it. I do like the style. I do like the vibe and the special effects. That's part of the style of it. It is gnarly. It is in your face. And we've seen some great stuff in Fulci films, like Zombie, when the chick gets her eye gouged out by the wood splinter, right?
Mhm.
All that's amazing. But dude, you know what's better than that to me? The chick getting the nail through the head, dude, and like the eye just coming out like that, dude. Like, I don't know. There's something more shocking to me about this one. And I do think that there are some really great scenes that do build suspense and tension. And I think that this is stylistically a masterpiece for me, for Fulci. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the style and structure?
Yeah, man, I agree. The style takes over the film. We've already talked about it. It's very eerie. It's got it's got a lot of heart, if you want to be honest about it. It the man made a movie about kills. He just should have called it like 8 Killed or something. I don't know. He made a film where everybody gotta die. And it makes no sense why. We're just gonna do this. Because there's no structure at all. It's all just, hey, we put some scenes together. I hope you like it. Hope you like our little film. But it looked like it was going somewhere. It looks like it should be doing a lot of work, like story-wise. Like of course, you got Emily involved. You got this whole book. You've got, this guy that dies, is crucified. You could have pieced all this stuff together. All this stuff should have been like pretty easy to like put together, make a scene, go to the next scene, but it connects to the scene before it, to where the end is like, oh, I get it now. I understand. That's why they're in hell, but you don't get any of that. You're just like, this scene happens, next scene happens. This scene happens, next scene happens. I get over it. Somehow the kills make up for it. the way that this looks makes up for it. It looks great. I think all the practical effects in this, bravo. By the way, if we did like any sort of practical effects now like this to some level, of course in 4K it's going to be harder to pull off, but at the same time I still think they could do it with all the money they have. This isn't a we fix it in post kind of situation. We're actually making a film and we're making the props for it. We're making heads to do all these things to. The guy with the spiders, when he dies, that's so clean. I'm like, why would spiders eat him anyway? Not that I have a question about that. It's just, what the crap
spiders.
is that?
Yeah, they're spiders from the beyond, brother. Okay.
Yeah.
The beyond spider. They're eating his tongue and everything. That the fact it looks so good. Really just again, bravo.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
beautiful stuff. It's like chef's kiss awesome.
It doesn't even
So
matter how fake it is when it's in camera. You know it's physically there, and it adds an element to it that they just don't cover in a lot of CG stuff. Like 100%.
That really does. And then one more thing, I forgot. How do two brunette people make a redhead? Just another question. Another question for another day. I'm out.
She's the redhead from beyond. That's why.
Yeah.
What if it? But this is my answer to everything that doesn't make sense in this movie. Well, it's beyond.
It's beyond.
It's the Bed Bath and the rest is beyond. Just the beyond part, right? What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the style and structure and special effects, man?
Well, I think, like, structurally, it is a little bit of a mess. Like, like I said, it does kind of just feel like him trying to, move from one kill scene to another. And then he'll, like, he'll occasionally be, oh, yeah, like, there's the book. I got to bring the book back in here at some point, But I think, like Jelani was saying, the kills do kind of make up for, like, some of the more glaring shortcomings story-wise. Like, it is an interesting, like, the idea of, like, hell on earth, like, what that would entail, like, what kind of, like, just fucking crazy shit would happen, and, like, like I like the guy falling off of the scaffolding, and dude's like, oh, how's a guy fall off of a 6-foot scaffolding? Like, I mean, dude, it's not like
Take the book down.
No,
like a fucking guardrail on it.
He's on the couch.
Like it's impossible or some shit.
Yeah,
he's on the couch choking on his own blood, and they're like, hey, he's all right. He's like,
I'm gonna let you climb this ladder. I'm gonna go to lunch. I'm gonna go to lunch and lock this door. Is that cool with you, dog? Holler. I'm sorry. Just
no. The effects are really nice in this movie. Like the good practical effects. Like like super gross. I'm for it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Stu? Style and structure. What do you think? Should we tell him?
My bad. I think you guys said it already. Regardless, though, I never found myself like, bored or, I thought the pace of this movie was great. I thought, like Jelani said, the spider scene was excellent to me. The way they married the visuals with the music in that one, I thought was especially great. But yeah, it's a statement of style, and for that, it makes sense. I didn't know that beforehand that they built it around these kill scenes. It completely makes sense now in hindsight with that. But regardless, I feel like they pulled it off for the most part. With the music and the gory visuals, I felt like it was impressive enough that it kept you, wanting more scene to scene. And even though you had no idea really what was going on, and they gave you kind of like little crumbs of information, little on a need to know basis that like helped you. I like that it could have gone like way bigger in terms of theme and like things that it was trying to say or do, but it didn't. It just said like, the gates of hell are opening. The dead are going to walk amongst the living. That's pretty much what we got going on. It kind of, the fact that it kept it simple in that manner, I felt like helped it better on the style side. Like it helped it express what it wanted to say with those gory kills and like that simple baseline helped it get its point across. I thought, but yeah, I don't know.
My man.
I hope that makes
I
sense.
think we got an Italian horror fan on our hands here, bro. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I got a list for you, man. All right, Fable, what do you think of style and structure?
Yeah, there's not too much here going with the structure. Style, I echo what you guys said. It's just a bunch of set piece kills, and this is where I get the Raimi kind of stuff from, because the way he lingers on a lot of stuff, or the way he's like, oh, spider going in your mouth, you don't like that, right? Check this shit out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As disgusting as you can try to get, they try to get, and that I dig it for that. That's what makes it entertaining, or oddly, like watching a car crash. It's like, this is really disgusting, but it's like cool too. But it's like disgusting, but it's like cool, but it's disgusting.
Yeah, like a Fast and the Furious film,
exactly.
Right?
I just made an odd connection. Maybe you guys won't like, but is this like the precursor to like Final Destination or something like that?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I mean, that's a bunch of kills loosely put together by a story. No? Okay, no. I won't say that. I'm sorry. I knew you guys would have liked that.
Maybe if Fulci was like, okay, before we get the nail through the eye, she's going to have to slip on some water. There's going to be an outlet that's there, but she's not going to get electrocuted. But then there's also this cement truck that's pouring. It's just like, what is this a mousetrap game that eventually to get to just an eye gouge, man? What about you, Joe? What do you think about the style and structure? You're a writer. You're an editor, right? You got to have some thoughts.
Yeah. No, this is one of the best things about this movie is it's like 87 minutes. It is really tight, merciful 87 minutes. It doesn't, and like oddly enough, for being a movie that follows like, dream logic, which is bullshit that we all come up with to try to make the movie make any sense or whatever. But it's very, despite all of that, it is a linear movie that is constantly just moving forward in the plot and doesn't meander or linger too long on anything that isn't very specifically about this like gate to hell and the havoc it is causing. It is a very tight linear movie, which I think is part of why you see people that like do enjoy this that may not like it in like movies that either aren't horror movies, aren't gory movies, or because it is so focused despite all of that. So
yeah, a focused movie despite its nonsensical nature. I like that.
Yeah,
that'll be the quote on the back of the new Blu-ray, like, right? on the front, it's a good movie, but is it? And then there on the back. I love it. Joe is like so quotable with his movie reviews. Sometimes I love it. We all are, man. We need to start having a line of T-shirts, just quotes about certain movies, man. I think we'd sell a couple. I'm really excited for this. So the score is done by Fabio Frizzi, right? Who did the score of Zombie, who did the score of City of the Living Dead, who did the score of Manhattan Baby, so other Fulci films. But to me, this is the pinnacle. Like, I love this score. I've been listening to it all day long. I've been listening to it in my car. I was listening to it at work while I was doing FOC, and I'm just like bum ba-na-na-na-nam, ba-na-na-na-na-nam, bum, because it's got that like Italian vibe where it's a little prog rock, right? Then it gets kind of synthy, but in this one it doesn't like Zombie and City. They lead very heavily into like that analog synth, like whoa,
yeah,
wow, shit like that. This one is like he literally got like these people to like do this choral thing based on this fake language from the Book of Ibon or whatever. So like they're saying nonsensical shit. They're saying like nothing that makes any sense, but it's like part of this language. Like What the fuck? I think the most layered and brilliant thing about this movie is the score. I think it is the composer Fabio Frizzi like is killing it. There's so many great themes that slow piano that we get through, bum, bum, dum, dum, and the way that gets incorporated into the movie, and then just the main theme, and it has like a lighter form of it, like and then it has a bum, it has that like frantic, like in your face strings coming right at you, man. But it's still so rooted into what I expect from 80s horror and 80s Italian horror in particular, but it revs it up. To me, this is one of my favorite scores. I think it is brilliant. What's what I love about this Blu-ray is it does come with the score right there, and I fucking love it. I think it's like one of the best things about this movie. What do you think about the music, Jelani?
The music is beautiful. You're right. It's very memorable. Like well, kind of like how Zombie is. So it makes a lot of sense that it goes in that flow. Fulci and Argento are just magic with like trying to figure out what their music will be. Now it's no Goblin. It's by means no Goblin. It doesn't. It's prog rock, but it's light. It makes a lot of sense that you can hum it after the movie's done. It's strange. A lot of the scores, a lot of the music that I can't remember the last week or so we did a film, and I couldn't remember any of the music.
The Host.
The Host. Can't remember the music. It was gone before. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. It was there, but it was all right. And plus, that fucking kid did not need to die twice. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Here we go.
Bullshit. Anyway, but it's good. It's really, really, really good. I'm really impressed with the music in this. How Emily plays the song that it's incorporated in later. The ending credits when they're running and they become blind, even though that music's been playing the entire time. It's just it hits different. There.
Yeah,
it hits different because now you're like, yeah, we're in hell. Like, but how long have we been in hell? That's another question too. How long were they in hell? Were they in hell like when they left the house, when they drove the house and went to the hospital?
I think I don't know, because that's an interpretation that you can have in this movie. Is that like it, because there's that bit where they get to the end and like the strobes come on and the wind machine hits and all that shit, and then you could just go, well, that's the moment. But no, before that, like when the last like seal finally breaks or whatever, and then like they go out there and like there's nobody around.
Right.
Like, why are the streets empty in New Orleans, right? And then everybody's a zombie and this and that, and like they could have been in hell like way before that, right? And the music is a character in this movie that really does. And I'll say this, man. I'll be bold enough to say it right now. I think that Fabio's score here for The Beyond is better than any Goblin movie score. And the reason why I say that, I know, and you know I love Goblin. But the reason why I say that is when Goblin has to appropriate another style, like for instance in Zombie or Dawn of the Dead, where they're like, we need like a redneck shit kicker kind of song. They just do the most generic fucking like, this is an Italian's view of what like Southerners listen to. Fabio does a great job with the blues music that he's composing for this one too, in my opinion. Like, it's not super awesome, authentic New Orleans blues or nothing, but it's more appropriate than I think some of the Goblin stuff that they do outside of that. And I think the themes are more diverse and complex than Goblin. But I do love Goblin, and it's a difficult, I think a more comparable comparison would be Keith Emerson, who did Argento's Inferno, which we'll be talking about on Horror Fest this year. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the music in the film?
I thought it was really good. It reminded me a lot of the zombie. It sounded very much like the Zombie soundtrack in a lot of ways, but different as well. And I especially like the little piano tune, the little piano ditty that kind of is throughout the movie. The one that the blind girl plays for a while. It reminds me of the Shinra's Mansion music from Final Fantasy VII. for some reason, just like this weird, creepy little piano tune, like doom, doom, doom. So yeah, pretty good.
Oh yeah. What about you, Stu? You've already mentioned it a little bit. What do you think about the music?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it elevated the movie from the first time you hear it in the intro, and just throughout. I think it's either you're rocking out to it in like a segue, or it's like holding the scene or elevating the scene and taking it to another level. So yeah, like I said, the spiders, like the sound design on that spider scene was one of my favorite highlights.
You hear them like stepping.
Oh right? Man, it's so creepy. All the different noises he uses is fantastic. So yeah, A1.
What about you, Fable? What did you think about the music? You're a musician. You're a composer.
Don't hate what I'm about to say. I think the music is good, right? It's good music, but I just don't like the points where it's used at times. Not all the time, but some of the time. Like I think it was brilliant when you hear the piano theme and you find out it's the girl playing it, and she's playing it live. I thought stuff like that was great. I do like that prog rocky, I guess, I don't know, swell up music that they have. It kind of reminds me of like the end of Saw, when you find out that the guy's been there the whole time and he gets up. Yeah. Totally.
And James Wan's a huge fan of Italian horror that he did his own American version of shitty Italian horror called Malignant. So
there you go. Fun fact.
All right.
No, I love Malignant, but it is shitty Italian horror done today in America. Yeah.
But there's times where that swelling music it just, I don't know, it takes away from the scene to me. Like there was a scene at the end where they finally get to that purgatory or wherever it is that they are, and I just felt like it should have been something very dreadful, and instead we got like some Shire music, I would call it, like freaking Lord of the Rings flute music. That I was like, what a choice of music for this scene right here. So it really hit me at that point. So I like the themes and I like the music itself. I just think it's used in strange places.
All right, I can dig that. What about you, Joe? What do you think about the music?
No, it's hard to say more than what's already been stated, but I will say, since you mentioned it, I think one of the things that does make this stand out for me is the not full lack of synth, but that for a movie like this, you would think they'd really go heavy on it, and they don't. For me, everything did seem sort of elevated from the music and done so in a way that, for the most part, I mean, there are some themes that, go throughout the movie, but a lot of the scenes that happen that have that very specific music tends to just elevate the scene for me. And that's really important, I feel like, in a movie like this. So part of what makes this soundtrack work is it works hand in hand with the visuals. It feels like an intentional partnership, which you don't often get in a lot of movies that are just like, oh, we need popular song for things so people know. So that kind of stuff I feel always elevates these kind of movies. I think that's part of why Italian horror films tend to do have these really phenomenal scores like that. The good ones. I mean,
they're not all golden.
No, but Italian horror, like every genre or everything that exists in all realities, most of it sucks. So that's just life. That's how it goes. So yeah, this one stands out by being in the not suck category.
The 80-20 rule presented by Joe Corallo and Italian horror. All right. I loved that part of this conversation, but I'm really looking forward to this. All right. Every movie here, we are the pop culture philosophers. We got to dig deep. So deep so far, we open a gate of hell, right? A gate to hell, I should say. Shalani, when you dig into this movie, when you watch it, what do you take from it? What's the theme? What's it speaking to you?
Don't bring a gun to a hell fight. Because
especially,
apparently you're a terrible
especially if you don't
aim.
know how to use it.
You know how to use a gun. Do no harm, says the doctor. And he does lots of harm with his aim. Just it's so many little things. It's just don't take things for granted. If you see that there's a problem, like, oh, I don't know, your painter falls,
Right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat, there's a problem. If your plumber dies in some weird, mysterious way in your basement, immediately following the painter, and then all these series of unfortunate events continue to happen, just sell the place. It's bad luck. It's something about it. Just be like, oh, I got this in an inheritance. Why did you get this in an inheritance? Why? That story's not clear, but it's just how you. I don't know. If you see, I have a lot of themes. If you see a red flag, I mean, take note of it. Just little things. Just if it's bad, you see it's bad, get the hell out of the way. Somebody puts their hand on your face, just take it off. It's okay. Stop that. Stop. You have free movement. It's okay. It's not like you're paralyzed with fear. But somebody puts their hand in my face, I'm like, no, son. No. Get off me, son. No. That's all I got.
All right, that's good enough.
It has no story. It's just weird. Just
Yeah. No. You're right. You're right on the money, man. Like the idea that, like, when you see the signs, don't think that you're gonna, like, how are we gonna fix up this hotel? You ain't. You just
never.
ain't. It ain't gonna happen. Don't worry about it. Just sell it to a Nicolas Cage. By the way, anyway, that's a whole other story. There's this is loosely based on a true story about this house where they're like, this woman like killed a slave or something. There was all this horrible shit that people were doing to slaves, right? And they've later on found like all these skeletons and shit like that. And so this known location in New Orleans, and it's been a bunch of things. Nick Cage owned it for a time. So that was my Nick Cage reference that nobody got but me. Now I've over-explained it. Brooks, what's this movie speaking to you? What's the theme of the beyond?
Well, I think this movie is about like art and our understanding of art. I think it's not a coincidence that the movie starts with a painting and ends with a painting. And to me, the movie feels kind of like an art piece in a way. And like Fulci's using like the kills are like his brush strokes, like that's why it doesn't feel as much like, a coherent story, because it's really more of an art piece in a way. The idea of hell itself is kind of like, the humans like creativity is spawned of our creativity, of our understanding of things like, suffering and hopelessness, we used art to make it more real. And I think that's what Fulci's doing here. He's like, this is how, I'm going to put hell on film, or at least, my interpretation of hell. And, I think it's no surprise, kind of like in the beginning that, these guys just bust in and, kill this dude while he's making this art piece, because that's, it can feel that kind of way as an artist sometimes, like you try to make something and like a bunch of assholes just come in and crucify you,
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe this dude like opens up this gate, gets swallowed up, it closes up, and it's done.
It's like he was going to like start painting like a perfect paradise, but they like stopped him.
Yeah, no shit, right? Like he was going to finish, like it was going to be a series of paintings, right? And just let him. And so like a little bit, like I like how you touch on this. I haven't really thought about this too much, but it's got like a meta nature, a little Grant Morrison-y, right? Where it's like art that influences life, but also reality in life that influences art. And so it kind of has
inside the painting at the end.
Yeah, so dude, right there.
Absolutely.
The original idea, by the way, Fulci wanted the hell to be a carnival in which everybody's just there having a good time. I'm so glad they didn't fucking do that. They didn't do it because of budgetary reasons. But could you imagine how dumb this movie would be if like hell's like a fucking like all these zombies are on a fucking Ferris wheel or some shit? It's so stupid. And that's the other thing. Me and Dylan were talking about this on Saturday night. It's so crazy because I don't consider this, or even City of the Living Dead or House by the Cemetery, I don't consider those zombie movies. Like The Beyond, but technically it is. It's a zombie movie, technically, but I don't see it as a zombie movie. To me, it's much more like ethereal and Lovecraftian and
because
just,
they're just monsters. Where in the zombie movies, it's almost like we're the monsters. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like this theme in the zombie movies where that's completely absent.
Yeah, it's not like a biological infection, right? But it is like a mental kind of one. That's why I think it's perfect for March Madness. That's why I picked it over some of his other ones. So Brooks, that was great. I love you. You are worthy of owning my DVD copy that I've had for over 20 something years. So hell yeah. All right, Stu, what's this movie speaking to you, my man?
To me, it's, I guess, salvation and redemption. Was it too late from the get-go? And I feel like the painter was a key figure, like Brooks said, how it kind of started with him and it ends in the painting. But like everything and this movie kind of felt inevitable. It always felt like they were kind of Prometheus trying to climb up the mountain and put everything together, but it already, and it wasn't like explicitly stated that it was that way, but just from the beginning with the plumber going down there and just kind of the earth and the wall falling away to the way things went down in the morgue. And, from there on, it just felt like everybody was in the drain and it was circling and there was really nothing anybody could do to stop it. So it really kind of felt like you guys were saying earlier, when did we first enter into hell, and did we ever really have any chance to stop this, in the first place?
Fuck, Stu. I love you so much, man. I'm so proud of you, man. You're my Italian horror dude, man. Like, you're gonna be on, like, trust me. You just wait, brother. We're gonna get you some gnarly shit. Wait till you see Burial Ground. All right. Speaking of which, no, you hit the nail on the head though, Stu. Like, that's literally one of my fucking themes tonight. Is what you were kind of talking about. So I'm so proud of you. You've come so far from shitty microphones and tin cans to where you are right now, man. I love you, dude.
I'm all grown up.
See, PCP changed my life. It will change yours too. All right. What about you, Fable? What's this movie speaking to you, if anything?
I'm sorry to disappoint you yet again.
Wow.
If your ass is from New York, you ain't got no business in New Orleans. That's
New York City.
What you doing over there in the bayou? Get the hell out of here. I mean, damn, yeah. I mean, sure, inevitability. Like Stu said, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You know what I mean? These people, they had no chance since the very beginning, and I guess Fulci just wanted to drive that home. Like, this is beyond you, the beyond. There you go.
Yeah. No, and that's the point of that Lovecraftian type shit. And other authors, because I think there was an Arthur involved, but other authors of, like, those weird tales magazine and stuff like that. Like, that's a big part. Like, you're fucked from the get-go. So to answer Jelani's question, when is the moment we were in hell? From the beginning of the film, brother.
There you go.
Right? Like, from the beginning of the film, like, honestly, like, it is the inevitability of it is a big part of it, right? So, man, Fable, I'm proud of you, man. I love it. That's awesome. What about you, Joe? I love you too, and Jelani and Brooks, I love y'all. Y'all know, but Joe, I love you too. So, Joe, what you got? What's this movie speaking to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of this kind of goes back to, like, I mean, you can interpret this movie as they descend into hell at any time, whether it's right at the very end when they're in the painting. The fact that those things were going on in that house or hotel, whatever, back in 1927, like, they may have already been in hell since then. And that's just, this whole world is just hell. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, it seems that there's also something going on here, whether it's intentional or not, that the closer you get to uncovering what is going on, that's what brings you to hell. Like,
when you figure it out.
the people, yeah, it's this, like, knowledge and things like that, and this idea of, and I think there is some valuable lesson in, there are certain things that curiosity isn't a benefit about. There are certain there is certain knowledge out there that is harmful, and you need to sort of in your own life ride that line and understand and figure that out, or else you know, like, we're already, all of us right now are in hell, but
Probably.
maybe it's not so bad if you don't pick away at it and keep digging and trying to figure out that you're already in hell. So maybe you can get some enjoyment if you ignore the fact that you're already in hell.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
That's gonna be the quote on the liner notes of the new Blu-ray, right?
Yeah.
Everything I got to say is kind of like an encapsulation of what y'all all were saying, which normally how it goes here, right? But to me, it's about the inevitability of death, right? Fulci has these very nihilistic films where there is an unforgiving nature to reality, right? And it doesn't matter. Like, I always talk all the time about life and magic is about the significance that you apply to events of your life. Whatever significance you apply to any event in your life is what is the reality to you. But let's take our perception out of it. The cosmos is unforgiving. It does not give a shit about you. It does not give a shit about this planet. It does not give a shit about this civilization. It does not care about you and your hopes and dreams. That is a nihilistic kind of foreboding sense that to me is inherently so Lovecraftian in nature that even though this is not a direct adaptation to any Lovecraft work or any Lovecraft adjacent work, it to me is the best encapsulation in film about like what that feels like what that actually means, like what that Lovecraftian idea of the elder gods and the old ones, and like this idea that like, it's in Hellboy, right, with the Ogre Jihad and shit like that. Like, it doesn't matter what the fuck is going on in your life. I have a check engine light on. Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? Because when the asteroid hits, it's going to hit. And the asteroid that doomed the dinosaurs or will doom us or whatever cataclysmic event will happen that will wipe out our civilization doesn't give a shit about us tonight talking about the nuances of what this movie's trying to represent. And so it's about the inevitability of death, but also the compounding nature of trauma, right? Because this is an event of inherited pain, right? Where this woman is literally inheriting this hotel, right? So that's kind of a tie-in, right? But also the idea that like this dude did something. He painted a picture. And I love that the movie doesn't go into like, who is this dude? What exactly was he doing? We just know these people show up, these puritanical fucking people. Well, they're just as complacent into this as he is. So whatever he did, they did just as bad by like literally crucifying him. So it's like an antichrist type figure, right? Where they're inverting the sacrifice of Christ at the beginning of the film. There's a very real reason. And Fulci was a Catholic who said, I think God has abandoned me, but I'm still Catholic. That paints a fucking picture about what this movie might mean a little bit subtextually. So it's about that, but it's also about the perpetual nature of doom, that of what it's like when the idea, and I think Fulci has, and this is what I love about Fulci, and I can dive into these things, but you know me, I'm a positive natured person, right? Because I know that we've all started from the place of doom. We're all fucked. We're all going to die. We're all decaying, and it can happen slowly or it can happen in an instant, right? So I think the point of that kind of nihilistic and like philosophy on nature is not to despair about it, but it entices me to apply even more significance on my life. Because you know what? If the universe don't give a fuck about me, then I won't give a fuck about the universe. And I'll care about the people in my life and the events of my life and the actions of my life that make me feel like my life was worth living. So make sure your life is worth living, because we may already be in hell because we inherited this already. We've already started from the place of doom, right? And you can get into all these kind of like cultural or religious or mythological, ideas about like first sin and like the fallen nature of man and shit like that. That's what this is. We're already doomed. It's already done. So we can either despair at that and just lament our lives away, or we can take action and make what we have matter. So that's what I think this movie's about to me. But at the same time, it could just be beyond my understanding. All right, now it's time to rate the film. You out there in the chat, if you watched the film, let us know what you thought about it. Chill Out Man already told us he gave it a 4.5, you digs, out of 5. So that's awesome. Very excited to see that. So Jelani, kick us off here on the panel. Out of 5, you digs, what do you give Lucio Fulci's The Beyond?
Yeah, the first time I saw this, I was going to give it a 3. Because it was just weird and out there and had no structure and all this other crap. But as I watched it a second and a third time watching this film, I really love it. It's one of those just cool things that should have, I don't know, they could remake this if they could remake this with practical effects and let Fulci do it, I think he would really put some more effort into it and make an actual structural story.
Michael Bay's The Beyond.
Yeah, not that one. I will not watch that one. Not at all.
Transformers The Beyond.
You better stop. Don't even get me started.
Fable 2 back in.
The name. We don't speak that guy's name over here.
God. Come on. You wouldn't want to see a Michael Bay movie. Yeah, come on, man. But yeah, I'm going to give it, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.69.
Nice.
I love this movie. It's rewatchable. It's crazy as crap. The kills are awesome. The music's fire. It's not a 5 because it's not zombie. So it's still very awesome. Very impressive. I really like it.
Hell yeah. 4.69, man. And Fable, man, I get what you're saying, brother. Because I'm a Transformers dude too. But at least he made The Rock. He gets a little bit of a pass for me because he made The Rock. I do like The Rock. All right?
Bad boys for life for me. But
fuck yeah. Bad Boys. Don't talk that shit here on PCP. What are you talking about?
We're doing Bad Boys.
No, we're not. I'm sorry, man. This has been a thing that's been going on behind stage for years, y'all. Jelani and Mike and others, they're like, we should do Bad Boys. And I'm like, no. Why not? Because it's my fucking channel. It's on my fucking email.
How about Pain and Gain? How about Pain and Gain? We settled Pain and Gain. That's like the middle ground.
Hey, we have Crew's Choice for a reason, motherfuckers. If y'all want to do Bad Boys, do it, man. Not this year, though.
Yeah.
What about you, Brooks? We got a 4.69 from Jelani. What do you rate this film?
I'd give this one a 4. Like, I do like it, but I feel like it is kind of meandering in a way. But this is a movie I feel like I'd probably like enjoy it more down the line on rewatches. But this time I thought it felt like a 4 to me.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. A 4 you digs from Brooks. What about you, Stu? Where are you sitting?
All right, I was gonna go 4. I loved it. The inconsistencies were whatever, but great style and music. But I think I'm gonna go 4.69 Match Jelani because my man Fulci didn't get to see this one and its proper release before he died. So 4.69 for me for that reason.
That is right. He died in 1996 due to complications to diabetes, and it wasn't released in its full format in the States until 1998. And after that for Britain, like it was never showed in Britain. Right, because it was a video nasty, and I love covering video nasties because to me they're some of the most provocative films. They're films that make you pay attention, even if there may not be anything on a surface level. With any form of art, we can dig deep into it. You know what I'm saying? What about you, Fable? Where do you rate this film?
This movie has the unfortunate timing of coming in between Jacob's Ladder and what was the other film we saw? Oh damn!
Well, last week the host. Wait, what were you talking about?
Yeah, it was a film we saw. I think on Blood Splatter Chatter. Damn it!
From
We
Beyond.
just did Jacob's
From
Ladder.
Beyond. Thank you.
You just watched
Yeah.
From Beyond. Oh yeah,
Yeah. So this movie has the unfortunate timing of coming in between two what I think are great examples of A, Lovecraftian horror, and B, descent into madness or purgatory, whatever Jacob's Ladder, however you take whatever's going on there. So at the end of the day, it's all about the kills, and I do love the practical effects, and I do love all of that. So I think it's strong enough in that realm to bring it to a 3 for me. So I'll give it a 3.
All right, that's very respectable, my man.
Oh yeah.
Though I do hate that you rated it the same as I rated Creep on Dylan's Horror Show because it's way better than Creep, man. All right. Anyway.
Well, Jelani, when he opened up his review, he said everything I would probably say. It was like, when I first saw this, I rated it a 3 because it was nonsensical and all this.
Yeah.
And this is my first watch. So maybe on a subsequent watch, I'll get more out of it. But for now, it's all about the stylistic kills. And I liked most of them. I enjoyed it. So yeah, 3. Better than that.
I think that's awesome, Fable. I think
Gotta
that's
watch it
awesome.
again. That's all I say.
I'm not
That's all
hurt.
I
That's
say.
better than what these assholes gave fucking Funhouse. So that's good on me. That's good for me. What about you, Joe? Where are you sitting?
Well, before I get into it, I do also have to make it a point to say I did see The Host in theaters when it came out. Just because I'm not on that particular episode, do not assume that means I didn't see it on the big screen. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I
did.
just want that to be clear to
Commit
people.
to the bit.
So just so they're aware. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4.5. It's really, really fucking great. It has obvious flaws which make it like impossible to ever give a 5, but it's really good. And the pacing, like if a movie like this was like pushing 2 hours, like I might want to die, but it's like keeping it like under 2 hours, keeping it under that like hour and a half mark, like very like this is weird. This is very definitively under an hour and a half. It works for this.
I think that's exactly what you said about the Police Academy franchise.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, they got none of those movies for 2 hours. Jesus.
Well, I think one of them's like an hour and 15 minutes, bro. You're like, was this a TV special? What the fuck was this? It's no surprise to anybody here on this panel tonight or anybody watching that I love this film. I think it's absolutely amazing. I can see its flaws and I don't give a shit. I'm giving it a 5, you digs, because I'm that fucking guy who has gone off his rocker into the beyond. And I love this movie. It's my favorite Fulci film. And if I gave Zombie 2 a 5, I'm giving this one a 5 because I think it's deeper. I think it resonates more. I think the music's better. I think it's an awesome film. And this is right up my alley. Now, understand this is March Madness. And we're talking about Fulci, so there's some leeway there, and I'm happy to use it. And so I'm going 5, you digs. To me, this is a perfect film, and every time I watch it, the more and more I love it. So a 5 from me, a 4.69 from Stu and from Jelani, a 4 from Brooks, a 4.5 from Joe, and a 3 from Fable. That gives us a PCP average of 4.369, my dudes. So there you go. I think all in all, we say we recommend this film. Go check it out. I love it. This has been great. Thank you all so much for joining us. Next week here on PCP Movie Night, we are ending March Madness here on PCP with a look at a movie I'm very excited to talk about, Spiral, which is co-directed and co-written by Adam Green, who we know from the Hatchet franchise. But Spiral, to me, is one I really want to talk about, because I think it really fits every checkbox of what March Madness should be. Also, check me out. Thursday night, me and Fable are going to be on Blood Splatter Chatter talking about Jacob's Ladder, another perfect movie for March Madness. Check out Manny this week as he ranks the entire Exorcist franchise. I'm very excited to see what he does because I want to see how high Exorcist 3 is. The second greatest psychological thriller of the 90s. And then we're continuing the horror by the way of Italy on Dylan's Horror Show Saturday night when we talk about A Blade in the Dark, Lamberto Bava. My first time watching, I watched it last night. I got some thoughts. We're going to be talking about them. So a great week here for March Madness in PCP at Blood Splatter Chatter and Dylan's Horror Show. Jelani, thank you for being here. Final thoughts. What you got coming up?
There's a lot going on, but the last week my mom has been in the hospital. She had a horrible thing that happened to her. I've been with her pretty much all this week, so it's been really rough. If you guys can just keep her in your thoughts and things like that. But just a moment ago, like honestly, like while you were talking about nerd testing news, which thank you, Manny, for all the thumbnails and all that stuff. While it was happening, she called me and I said I have to text her back and call her back later because I'm on a live stream. She texted me immediatally back and said no cancer. We thought, she was like she doesn't we thought the mass that they took from her bowel was cancerous and found out it wasn't. So I'm over the moon. Like I mean, this is breaking news because I just had it. So I'm super excited for that.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So everybody that said something, thank you for your support and all that stuff. Brooks and I have a channel called Go Figure Reviews. And this week we had a surprise when Mike and Nate got us the G.I. Joe Classified Series Vamp.
Nice.
This is like been one of our highest viewed things, even though it's kind of like Vamp spam, because everybody got their Vamps at the same time. So everybody's reviewing it at the same time, and it's weird on YouTube right now for this thing. So we're in the middle of a hashtag movement, which is doing really well. So please keep watching that video and sub up for that. We also did a video of Jordan Condry's Mondo Disco Skeletor.
Nice.
And it's super cool. It's just a repaint of the deluxe Skeletor that we did, the 1/6 scale. It is awesome. Those figures are both things are awesome. It's a great time to be a toy collector, except for the price for all this crap.
Yeah.
It's great that we're getting this stuff, but it's a fortune. It's a freaking fortune. So we're gonna get reviews to you as soon as possible, and hopefully early enough so that we can get more views in the freaking algorithm. Thank you guys for watching. Sub up to Go Figure Reviews. We're super happy about it, and that's it.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. Great news all around. What about you, Brooks? What you got coming up? Final thoughts?
Well, I'm just if there's one thing you can take away from this movie is that always remember to put a lid on your jar of acid.
There you go.
Fair enough.
So accidents don't happen like the fucked up shit that happens in this movie.
Hey, like, what the fuck was that coming out of that woman's body? Like, to me, I started craving Jello 1, 2, 3. Do y'all remember that? Where it would be like Jello and then the cream and then the foam or whatever. Dude, I started wanting some of that, man. Stu, man, thank you so much for being here, man. Final thoughts.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This was great. Thank you for exposing me to this film and furthering my knowledge of the Italian horror genre. This was great. Tomorrow night, 9:30 on the Dr. Doom's Fan Club YouTube channel, we got the homie Chris from Lost in Comics coming through.
Oh, nice.
We're talking a couple new comics, and we're gonna go over the infamous Bill Jemas, Joe Quesada Wolverine the Origins run. So I can't wait to get into it. Me and myself, my buddy Link, and of course Chris from Lost in Comics. So y'all come through 9:30 on Dr. Doom's Fan Club.
You know that guy hates Marvel, right? So he's probably gonna hate that book.
Yeah,
so.
I have a love-hate relationship with that book, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, unnecessary and not very good in my opinion. But anyway, that's just me. What about you, Fable? What you got coming up? I know you're on a hiatus for Blame Fable and his amazing friends.
Well, first of all, tell me about it, Jelani. They just charged me $70 for that freaking Hulk and Wolverine that just dropped. Yeah, I just got the payment for that one. I was like, God damn, I forgot to cancel that shit.
Oh, it's insane, man. I give up.
Yeah, we're on hiatus. No show for 2 weeks. I'm in the middle process of trying to move all of this stuff into storage, all these comic books, all these toys I've been collecting for the last 3 years. I put myself in a big hole here, guys. I had no idea I was gonna have to move this shit.
Yeah.
Now you know what they feel like at the end of this movie, Fable.
Oh my god, dude! I never wanted.
You realize
to sell...
I've been in hell the whole time.
Yeah.
I built it myself.
Yeah, I looked at the fellas. I was like, "Listen, I'll take 10K right now for all of this shit. Anybody got 10K? 10,000?
Yeah. It's wild, dude. You should see my garage. And I sold half of it, and it's still a lot in the garage. Yeah, so yeah, I feel you, dog.
But yeah, I would just direct everybody to Blood Splatter Chatter this Thursday for the Jacob's Ladder review. Man, we had such a good time. Me, Robbie, and Verno breaking this thing down. So much so that Robbie made a new declaration, man.
I did.
And either I would direct you to his my Instagram, One Collection Town. I put the video up about it, or catch us Thursday to catch it on the channel, man. It's awesome. So yeah, that and catch Stu tomorrow with Chris. I love Chris, so I gotta plug that.
Yeah, Chris is great, man. He's a sexy dude too. That Jacob's Ladder show, y'all, trust me, it's probably the best show I've ever been a part of on Blood Splatter Chatter. Right? Wow. Like honestly, like I love the way we discussed that movie. I thought that
great movie.
I thought that we were all brilliant.
As always.
Joe, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure, especially when it's an Italian film from somebody whose name rhymes with Fargento or Aochi. I don't know how to do that one. But I know you got some stuff coming up, man. Why don't you plug time, brother?
I do. So next month.
By the way, the DC Pride thing, Station. So pumped for that, brother. So pumped.
Thank you. No, I'm really excited for that. But and I'll get to that in a sec. The King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, available April 24th, that Wednesday. So you can still pre-order it, but that YA graphic novel will be out by then. I'm going to be in C2E2 that weekend promoting the book. So if you're at the show, I'll be there. I probably be at Fourth World Comics for Free Comic Book Day in Smithtown, Long Island. Then there's also, I'm going to be at Heroes Con in June. So that's something to look forward to.
Me and Joe get to finally go do shots together. I'm very excited.
It's going to be fun. And then, as Robbie was mentioning, I have a new story through DC Comics with their Pride one-shot tribute to Rachel Pollack. It's a story done by me with Rye Hickman on the art. This is our second collaboration. We did a short together in the first Deadbeats anthology that I put out with The Way Blue World with Eric Palicki. And John Workman is doing the letters on this, who was the letterer on Rachel's original run, as well as Grant's run on Doom Patrol. Walt Simonson's Thor. He's just, one of the all-time best. But yeah, it's really looking forward to that story coming out. And not only for people to get the Doom Patrol number 70 if they had never read that before, but that Brother Power of the Geek one shot with Mike Allred on the art. It's phenomenal, and I hope that also raises awareness of that story, because it's really, really good.
Yeah, very excited. I was super pumped that we got the tribute to Rachel Pollack, and I was super pumped that you were involved in that. But even more pumped the stuff that they're reprinting of hers, which we'll see it will find a whole new audience that never saw that story before. So so that's awesome, man. Once again, check us out this upcoming Thursday on Blood Splatter Chatter as we talk about Jacob's Ladder. Check out Manny over at Nerdtastic News as he ranks the entire Exorcist franchise, and Exorcist 3 is probably going to be at number 2, if I had to guess. Join me over at Dylan's Horror Show. Damn, I fucked up. Over at Dylan's Horror Show with A Blade in the Dark by Lamberto Bava. That's coming up on Saturday. And next week, the PCP finale of March Madness with Spiral. It's not the Saw film with Chris Rock, y'all, so don't watch that one. Like, dive deeper into your Google search. You'll find it. It is totally, totally worth it. All right, we're dipping out here. And for my final thoughts, I'm just going to say, woe be unto him who opens one of the 7 gateways to hell, because through that gateway, evil will invade into the world.